Record. Okay, we're recording. Hi, everyone. My name is Danielle Pfeiffer, and I'm a Regional Vice President and Independent Consultant with Arbonne. And tonight is August 22nd, and tonight's our empowerment call with the multi-region group. And I'm excited. We have two amazing women sharing tonight. So first, I'm going to welcome Julie Dunham to share her I story. So Julie, can you unmute yourself?
Yes. Hi. All right. Well, I'm really excited. My name is Julie Dunham, and I will tell you a little bit about myself. I'm married, and we have an almost 3-year-old son. His name is Colin, and we actually have, you can't really see it, but if I stood up, you could. We have another one on the way, another boy in October. So lots of exciting things coming up. But I actually work full-time for Be The Match, and I'm what's called a workup specialist. But I work with unrelated volunteer donors who donate their stem cells and bone marrow to patients in need who have leukemia or different blood disorders. So definitely a really fulfilling job. Pretty cool opportunity that kind of fell into my lap. But I was actually introduced to Arbonne a little less than a year ago. And I was introduced kind of how I found my first job, where my husband was actually working on Danielle's backyard oasis, and she came out and was talking to him and some of the guys who probably had their shirts off and needed a little talking to about the 30 days to healthy living. And it was actually a really great time in my life for this, because I was kind of desperate. My son was almost 2 at that point. I had still not lost. I gained a lot of weight, had some health issues going on, and I just kind of felt like defeated. I was running, I didn't feel good, but I wasn't getting anywhere. So, I was desperate to try anything. So I said, yep, I'm going to do this 30-day challenge. And I had really great results. So physically, I was feeling good. Mentally, I was feeling good. I was like, I'm going to do this again. So I decided to do do the challenge a second time. And I started telling all my family and friends about it. So of course, Danielle was, persistent. I don't want to say pushy, because she's never been pushy, but persistent with me. Every couple of months, she'd check in and say, what do you think? And to be honest with you, I wanted nothing to do with another business where I had to sell things, because I had actually lost a lot of money and kind of put us in, some bad financial situations with another company that I had been involved in. But I didn't want to sell things. I wasn't ready to start a new business, but I really, really love the nutrition line. I love those products. So I finally met with Danielle, and we kind of had a first date. We talked for a couple hours, talked about work, life, kids, what our needs were, what I wanted to do in life. And it was really at that moment that I thought about how great it would be if I could have more time with my family. So, what does that mean, more time with my family? My husband and I both have really great jobs. He owns his own business, and I work for this company that does amazing things, and they do treat me well, but I'm on call 24/7. And, you kind of get into that. I'm with my kids, but I'm still running through everything that's going on at work. And because people can access me 24/7, that happens a lot. So, even though we're comfortable financially, of course, we have some debt. I think kind of everybody does. I don't want that anymore. I want to be more comfortable and have more wiggle room and be able to do things. But I also don't want to be working the long hours that we're working now. And because we have another one coming in October, our financial situation is going to change. And I also have to think that if one of us was to lose our jobs, where would we be? I can't say that we would be comfortable for very long, and I don't know how many other people can say that as well. So for me, I'm really looking to really kind of work my business so that I can have more time with my family. I can have that comfort of the financial freedom and family time that I see so many people in this Arbonne business have, and I want that. So, for me, I want to be able to share that hope. I've had that hope with the products, with the product lines, and I want to have that hope with I have that hope with my business now. I want to share that with others too. So I hope you have the chance to have that hope. It's just the best word ever. It really is.
Thank you so much, Julie. I love Shamika's comment about your smile. Your smile lights
Oh,
up the room, girlfriend. So you're in the right place for hope, that's for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Appreciate that. Okay. Next, I'm going to introduce Executive Area Manager and my amazing sponsor, Jessica Barrios, who is the perfect girl to train on Dare to Dream, Work to Win, because she knows how to get people going and she knows network marketing. And I was actually chatting with somebody today. I was like, have your new consultant get on because she's going to love Jessica Barrios' personality. And I think this will be a perfect fit for her. So Jess, thank you so much for training tonight. We know it takes time to prepare these trainings, and I know you are a girl that can really hit a home run here. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Danielle. Great introduction. I appreciate it. Can everyone hear me okay? All right. So let's dive into this. I am training tonight on Chapter 4 in Dare to Dream, Work to Win by Dr. Barrett. And the chapter is about entrepreneur time. And really kind of, this is amazing because this is one of the biggest things that can stop us totally dead in our tracks. It can also hit us when we feel like things aren't moving fast enough. And if you don't really understand it, it can take the wind completely out of your sails. So what I want to share with you is, first of all, the definition of an entrepreneur is a person who organizes and operates a business or businesses taking on greater than normal financial risk in order to do so. Wait, that's not us. It is, but it isn't, right? Like, we didn't have to go take out a huge loan. We didn't have to take a second mortgage on our house to do this outbound business. With very minimal financial backing, you're able to start this business and use the products. So we're entrepreneurs, but we're entrepreneurs with a benefit of not being in debt because of it. And one of my favorite quotes that really ties into this training is about entrepreneurship. And it's really living a few years of your life like most people won't, so that you can spend the rest of your life like most people can't. And that's what we're going to talk about. If you've ever heard any of us share the term residual income, that's what we're talking about right there. So one of the things that I love so much about network marketing or social marketing and what we do is it gives us an opportunity to grow and develop as entrepreneurs and business owners, but it also gives us a chance to live our life with development, with hope, with freedom, with opportunity, with the ability to make really big impacts. So this is a gift. And Dr. Barrett, when he introduces this time zone stuff, he talks about if you were someone managing a meeting in 3 different time zones, how absolutely confusing this would be. Pacific Coast, Central Time Zone, Eastern Time Zone. Oh my goodness, like think about that for a moment. Tammy posted that there's a training at 9 p.m. Well, instantly I thought she meant Eastern Standard Time Zone. Well, no, she was talking about actually 10 p.m. our time zone. So how confusing this is if you don't know what time zone you're in. And when you start to think about as a business owner and an entrepreneur, which we are, there's a coach, executive coach out of Toronto, and his name is Dan Sullivan. And he actually categorized it into 2 time zones. Instead of Eastern and Pacific, we have bureaucratic time zone. And this is the time zone we are all programmed. Okay, there are people living in your home right now, probably if you don't live alone, who are probably living by bureaucratic time zone. And a show of hands, how many of you were raised in a home that was a bureaucratic time zone, right? Okay, what is that? Well, what it means is these time zones are structured, they're predictable. They're scheduled out. You know what you're going to get paid per hour. Many people know their yearly salary. There's a rhythm. There's a routine. It's predictable. It's comfortable. It's kind of like you can just be and go through the motions. But the problem with this is somebody's telling you what you're worth. On the flip side, even though it's more uncomfortable, we have entrepreneur time zone. In an entrepreneur time zone, people pay little or almost no attention to the hours they work versus their pay or how much time they have coming off. And they do this because they have a vision. They're focused on their goals and their dreams. And to them, they're far more important things than whether they're going to get 4 weeks vacation a year. But one of the issues that can happen, and I was kind of highlighting this at the beginning, is that inadvertently, when you do a business like we have here in Arbonne or social marketing, your mindset can shift back into a bureaucratic time zone, particularly if you have people around you who are still living and working in the bureaucratic time zone. And those are the people who are paying the bills. Like in my house, that's typically, how this works. My husband has a 9 to 5 or 6 to 7, depending how you really think about it, bureaucratic time zone job. And so it's very easy for us as we're starting a business like this, before we really make pretty decent income, to have that mindset. And this is the most common way we can see this relate is in a linear income. And when we say that, it's where we get used to, okay, well, I work this number of hours, this is what I get paid. And you start to feel like, wait a minute, I work this many of hours and I'm getting paid here. It doesn't seem fair. It doesn't seem balanced, and it can really shake you up. And one of the things that I think this is like almost like a tattoo. Like they make those like tattoos that you can just like do on your own, and they stay, like they're pretty and they look real, but they stay for like 2 weeks. I feel like we should have like little scripts of things to say. One of them should be, ready? Where else, this is network marketing or social marketing, where else can you work 100 hours and get paid nothing, but then work 5 hours and get paid for 1,000 hours? Hello? Like seriously, tattoo that like on your arm. When you think that this doesn't pay out, Danielle can tell you right now what this is. It's called time leveraging. So those of us who work and live in an entrepreneur time zone don't really expect or look for a correlation between the hard work, how long you work, how many hours you put in, how many bags of Arbonne you're bringing in the house, how many tubs you're cleaning out, how many orders you're putting in. Because at the front end in social marketing or your Arbonne business, you realize that you are going to put in a lot of work, hard work, tedious work, frustrating work at times. Sometimes it's amazing, but it can be pretty hard, and you're going to get paid very little. But if you get this, you understand that on the back end, you're going to get paid far more than you ever worked for. And I always give this example. I'm like a steady workhorse in my Arbonne business. I'm coming up on 5 years. I've always just like done what I needed to do, solidly kept things going. A couple years ago, I had my little dog, Roscoe, who got sick. And it was in October, and it was a sudden thing, and he was my first baby, and everything stopped. And by early November, we had to put him down. And I was a wreck, my husband was a wreck, the kids were a wreck. I did the least amount of Arbonne I had ever done in my business. And December, like 6th or whatever, I was looking at my phone, and I saw my bank account. And I cried, because I had seen that the notice came through, what I had, been deposited by Arbonne. And my husband said, what is going on? Why are you crying? And I'm like, oh, I just got paid from Arbonne. And like, I didn't do much. Like, I actually felt kind of guilty, to be honest. And it was the biggest paycheck I had ever had in my business. Now, I don't tell you this story to say, just go take a month off and expect to get paid your biggest. But what this is that front end work you get paid for on the back end. And that was the first time I really saw that. So I want you guys to think about that. The other thing that I think is really important is that when we get stuck and we fall into that bureaucratic time zone, you need to make sure you're thinking like an entrepreneur. You need to be patient. You need to understand that it takes time. It also takes time to grow yourself. Guys, this is not a timeline. It is a growth line. Have you ever heard this? Sometimes it stinks, because if you're like me and you've been stuck, you think, where am I going? Well, you're stuck in a place because that's where you're supposed to be stuck at the moment, because you're growing through it. And so if you're patient and ride this out, you're going to have at the end something that you don't even really know yet. You just can't even see it. So the other thing that I think is really important that he brings up too is that entrepreneurs think different, right? We have different visions. We see things differently. And people who really have this, they have the ability to see potential, opportunity, trends, future. They see things clearer. It's almost like they can see around this tide. And this is what an entrepreneur does. And when you think about it, like, I remember my dad at one point telling me in a car that there was going to be like TV wires, like underground, and people could have like wireless TV. And it was like the most bizarre thing. Like, it's just weird to me. And now my kids are upstairs trying to be quiet on an iPad, watching some Nickelodeon game on a wireless device. So whoever I heard was someone with a big vision and could see it before the rest of us could even process it. And that's really something that's a gift. And when you're sharing this business with people and you realize that your business opportunity is a gift you want to bless with people with, you're also actually giving them a vision test. You're looking to see if they have the vision of an entrepreneur. And sometimes you're going to have people who just light up, and you're also going to have those people who look at you like a deer in headlights because they're in a bureaucratic time zone. It's just what they know. But the good thing is this whole mindset can be fostered. It can be developed. It's a muscle that can grow. And if you work with your people on your team and you work with yourself and you educate yourself on, especially this business, guys, you can't do this if you don't understand social marketing. You need to understand this business. And that's what this book is really, guiding us through. But you need to also surround yourself with people who are visionaries, people who have the vision, who can advance your vision. If you don't have it, they're able to put big goggles on you and start to paint for you. So one of the things that I think is really important is our vision, though, can start really small. When I started my business, to be honest, it was in some ways just to have a reason to shower and leave my house at night and like be with other women. I didn't see it as big as it is today. And my vision now is actually bigger than it's ever been. It's actually overwhelming to me what it is. But the thing about it that I think is just amazing is that it does grow. And if you've ever listened to trainings or you think about someone like
Don't you really want to know who she's referring to? I know. She's like, when you think of somebody like, I want to know. Okay, I'm sure Jess is going to pop back on soon because I'm sure she knows by now on her end that she's not connected. But does this not ring true? Like, are you sitting here like, yes, yes, oh my goodness, yes, oh my goodness. And one thing I was thinking about while she was talking, I hope she doesn't mind I'm sharing this, but she told us at our last monthly meeting, she just wanted to paint a picture that it's not just about, earning the car or going to the top. She said, listen, for the last 4 years, I've been an area manager. And for 4 years, I work when I want to work. I get to do everything I want to do because I get to prioritize everything around Arbonne. And she's worked a part-time business when she decides to work. And she said, I've averaged about $3,800 a month for the last 4 years. So as she's sitting here talking, I'm thinking, okay, maybe she works 10 to 20 hours a week. That means she's getting paid like $45 to $75 an hour to work part-time. I'm like, where else could you get paid that? And that's the whole thing about, in the beginning, she could have worked 100 hours and not made any money because in the beginning, you're trying to figure it out and you're talking to people. Maybe a lot of people are telling you no in the beginning and you feel like it's just not going to work. But she pushed through, and now looking back at the pay for 4 years, that's what she averaged. Like, where are you going to find a part-time job that's paying you $50, $60, $75 an hour? That's crazy. And that also makes me think of Sarah Dunning. And if you haven't heard any trainings about her or heard her train, she is the #2 income earner in the U.S. Jessica, if you're on, feel free to just jump in and talk. She's the #2 income earner, not in the U.S., in the U.K. And when she signed up, it took her a year and a half before she got anyone to say yes to products or the business. And it took 152 or 154 ask. And so she has a story that a lot of us know about, 154 ask before she got a yes. And so when I ran into her, 2 years ago at GTC, she's like, I'm Sarah. I'm like, wait, you're the 154 no's. And she goes, yeah, but Danielle, did you hear the whole story? I'm like, what? She goes, I actually sat down and met with and did a one-on-one product, and all with 154 people. And they told me no, they would not buy a product. They would not join my business. Like, think of if you lived in a bureaucratic time zone, where you sat down with an hour or 2 hours, and I think of all the phone calls she had to make to find 154 people to sit with her. She worked a year and a half and did not make money. And now she's the number 2 income earner, millionaire. Like, you would never think of that. And how many of you would have stopped sitting down with people after 10? Like, seriously, you think to yourself, I just put in, 20 hours and I did to make a dime this week. And
Hey,
that's,
Danielle.
oh, are you there?
Jess has just got back on. Her internet went down, but she was able to hop back on.
Awesome. Jess.
Hi.
Okay. You said you cut out just when you're like, it makes me think of, or you all know, and you were about to say a person's name.
Oh, okay. So it was the Miranda Birchman.
Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Sorry. I had no clue. It was weird. You froze, but then I was like, oh, I was reading and doing my thing. So yeah, that's Miranda Birchman. Like, your vision expands. And I think that that's important to know, is that it also can be fostered. And I think that, one of the things that we know is that by kind of bringing yourself into places like this tonight, where you're plugging in and doing what you need to do, you're able to continue to expand your vision. And attending trainings and listening to SoundClouds and doing whatever you can to keep your vision and your mindset on course. Now, one of the things too that I think is really important is, when you're first starting someone in a business in your business with you, or you're even first sharing Arbonne, sometimes we get really excited when we are vision painters and we see a really big vision. But for some people, seeing the life at an EMVP and like not having to work and retiring your husband and making enough that you can pay for your health insurance independently, like these kinds of things, blows people's minds, and sometimes can actually make people go, this is crazy. Like, that's not even possible. So there is also this piece of this that sometimes, like I said, my vision was small, right? It was to shower, it was to bring in an income and see if this worked. Miranda Birchman's was to buy snow cones for kids. Like, it was real small. Now, and the truth is, sometimes you have to make sure you don't go too crazy with it. You let their vision expand as they start to build this mindset and this entrepreneurial muscle that we have. The other thing is, we talk about too, is the idea that we live in also different states. And this is really important. I was talking with someone today about this and about our mind states. And I'm not talking about New York versus Florida. Really, Dr. Barrett talks about a resource state versus a problem state. I think of it as a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. That's how I think of it. But they're the same thing. When you are a problem state person, which there are a lot of us walking around this way. And I think, show of hands, how many of you have been a problem state or a, what did I say? A fixed state, like, yes, this is a struggle, right? To be that person that, because when you are in that place, you anticipate your future with dread. You can feel like life is a struggle. Problems are just problems, and they feel like they can't be solved. You don't feel like you have control. You're overwhelmed. You just expect to survive, or maybe even be a victim. But on the flip side, someone who has a resource state of mind, which is what we all need, or a growth state of mind, and you do if you're plugged in right now, you're anticipating the future with confidence. You see problems as challenges that will be solved. You feel good even when times can be difficult. You know that you have control. You know that you are going to hit a bump in the road, but you're going to get over it, and you're going to be better and stronger for it. You expect to win at the game of life. You see the future and you have clarity. You're not overwhelmed. And guys, I say all of that like it's like making a PB&J. Hello, not easy, right? I mean, how many of you right now are like, how am I not overwhelmed? My kids just told me the iPad stopped working because the Wi-Fi isn't working. No, really? I'm trying to do a video right now and the Wi-Fi stopped. Sorry, you can't watch Nickelodeon. Like, yeah, I'm overwhelmed. Like, we are. So, but bringing it back, I did a very similar training to this, actually incorporated it into a training that I called Check Yourself Before You Wreck Yourself. And a lot of it was about this. This was at a district manager retreat a couple years ago. But yeah, I say it like it's easy. It's not easy. It's a muscle, it's practice, it's work. But the thing about this is if you can have that positive mindset, you can start to see things differently. You can see things as the cup half full versus half empty. In my business, and I've been saying this for a long time, that when I hit a road or a challenge or a bump or a struggle or a mountain I'm climbing and it feels really hard to me, I try to tell myself, this is happening to me for a reason. It's because I need to grow. It's because I need to learn. And it's because it's not about me. It's because somebody really important, somebody really special is going to come into my life or my business. And I'm going to be the person who can say, oh, sister, I've been there. It sucks. But you get through it. And let me show you how. And I will be able to link arms with that person and help them through that struggle because I made it through myself. So that's the positive mindset of it. The other thing that is really important is our positive reference group. And that's your tribe, okay? Again, I was talking to someone today about this, and it's like, show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. Who are the 5 people you're spending the most time with? What do I say to my kids every day? Do they lift you up, or do they push you down? Because if they're lifting you up or pushing you down, you can tell instantly what's happening, and you get to choose. So choose your 5 people wisely, because if you're with a positive reference group, they are going to lift you up. They're going to help you connect things when you're missing the pieces. They're also going to help you see and continue to grow your vision. They're the people who keep you on the cutting edge of enthusiasm. You know, when you're like, you feel poopy and somebody else is all excited and you can't help but smile. You're like, oh yeah, I'm smiling too. My 10-year-old wrote a book, like this book about how to be happy. And one of the things was just smile. And the book didn't get published because it was an easy concept. But how many of us forget that? Well, when you are with a positive reference group, they keep you enthusiastic. They keep you on your toes. They keep you on the cutting edge of conviction, of accountability, of staying on track and focused. And you're wise. That's why we ask for your whys when you first sign up, because this is what we do. We connect that for you. And the thing about it that Dr. Barrett talks about is, as entrepreneurs, they're like Nikes. They wear their Nikes. They just get it done. They just do it. I read something today or yesterday about being your, not worst boss, but like scariest boss. As an entrepreneur, like you got to be your scariest boss because you don't have anybody else. And it's kind of that same thing. Just do it, just do it, just do it. They get it done. They stay on task. They produce rather than procrastinate. They do the do. Now I'm saying this again as if it's easy. And it's not always easy, guys. But this is where we train ourselves and we're around people who help us get through. And their commitment, they show up. Success is actually deceptively simple. If you set your goals and you don't quit, you don't ever quit, you will get there. And I think that too often we compare ourselves with other people's highlight reels and we see people at this pace that's different. But the reality is, at the end of the day, Linda Parker is an EMVP who is like the coolest heifer in town. I mean, the woman is just like amazing. I stinking love her. But one of the things about her is she fell on her face more times than a new, like a 11-month-old trying to walk. I mean, she just sucked at this. I remember her saying, oh my gosh, I mean, it was so weird. I went into my sponsor's house and her sponsor is Cecilia Stoll. Anyway, like she had catalogs and like hand lotion by the sink. And I thought, wow, she really likes this armband stuff. Duh. Okay, like Linda Parker gets it. We all can get it. Just be patient. And I'm going to end because I am right there. But a quote from Steve Jobs, co-founder and obviously he's passed away, but CEO of Apple. He says, "I'm convinced that half of what separates the successful entrepreneurs from the non-successful one is pure perseverance, sticking it out. Don't give up. Don't quit." That's it. Sorry, guys, for the Wi-Fi episode.
Jessica, that was awesome. I'm sitting here thinking, I'm going to make sure I post this tonight because people that are not on need to hear this ASAP. And I know people who are on are going to want to rewatch this first thing. So thank you so much. I think we totally connected to what you said tonight. So thank you for doing that for us. Reminder, we now have our live, and I actually just got notification that it started. So go on the Discover Arbonne Live group to watch our live. And then at 9:30, we're back on Zoom with Carlita Nelson's number. And if you don't know it off the top of your head, it's under the description on our Facebook page, or just reach out to your sponsor real quick, and we can make sure you have the Zoom number to get on at 9:30. Thank you again, Jess. Thank you, Julie, for sharing your iStory. See you guys all soon. Take care. Have a good night.